This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network. And welcome everybody to episode 39 of the Animaniacast.
Alas, poor Yorick.
Whoa, check out Skullhead.
I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy.
He was funny.
He hath bore me on his back 1,000 times.
He gave me piggyback rides.
And now, how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it.
I'm going to blow chunks.
And welcome to the Animaniacast. We are the only podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs. Here we explore the series episode by episode, revisiting all the cultural references and gags that we can think of, and in the end, we give the episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
Chihuahua.
And across the country in Georgia is Kelly.
Hi.
In case you didn't hear what Nathan said, he said Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Which is something that...
Best movie ever.
From Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, which I don't think we've ever actually seen.
I never actually saw it, but I assume it has to be good.
Whenever the
But the way he said it sounded like Ewokese.
It did.
Chihuahua.
I Chihuahua. Wicket does say I Chihuahua or something like that. Anyway. But no, in this case, it was whenever the preview, which felt like it was a trailer that lasted about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it would be on like random movies.
Yeah,
that
we would see a movie and it would be like, well, Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie, like here's the trailer for it. And Nathan, being Nathan, would just start laughing hysterically
at everything. It made it so much better.
So the entire theater is quiet except for Nathan, who just is fake laughing at every stupid
then
joke.
It becomes real laughter because...
Why would anybody laugh at that?
Exactly.
There you go. That's comedy.
Ay, Chihuahua. Beverly Hills, Chihuahua. Chihuahua.
Today we are going to be talking about episode 39, which features Smitten with Kittens, Alas Poor Skullhead, and White Gloves, as well as various other little filler material and
lots
things
of little
like that.
treats.
Yes. Well, what do you guys think about today's episode? In a few words, Kelly, we'll start with you. What did you think?
Wow, this one's kind of hard to sum up. It was okay.
And Nathan, what about you?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like all over the place, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Okay, well, Nathan, when did today's episode first premiere?
Well, Joey, it was Thursday, November 11th, 1993. The Pope had just been hospitalized.
Uh-oh.
Well, I guess he's just fractured his shoulder and was hospitalized for 2 days.
Oh, okay.
And Disney had just announced plans to build a 150-acre history-themed amusement park near Haymarket, Virginia, called Disney's America. Of course, the project later was canceled in September of 1994. But it was going to be huge. It's going to be this huge thing in Virginia.
Oh, I'm guessing that didn't go well with the people of Virginia.
Yeah, they didn't like the idea.
Sometimes when we have Colonial Williamsburg and stuff like that in Virginia, that they're like, no, we got our amusement park.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be Mickey wearing.
Yeah, but this is fake history.
Yeah, it's fake history, kids.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into our episode. And I think we're going to go ahead and talk about a couple different of the filler portions right now first.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the actual,
the meat.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes of the episode.
And now, Dot's Poetry Corner.
So before we even get to the theme song today's episode, we see a Dot's Poetry Corner. And Dot recites her interpretation of Jack Be Nimble.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jumped knocked over the candlestick and burnt his butt. Thank you.
You know, it was kind of cute. I mean, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Little Miss Tuffet because she shows off her bottom in both of these cartoons. But you know, then later on we have one more Dot's Poetry Corner where Dot recites her interpretation of This Little Piggy, which I think it ended up turning into Dot. There's some backstory to this, like somehow Dot's pinky got, or pinky toe got. No, I think she's talking about some. She's referencing some other movie star that got a part in a movie, and she's calling her a little piggy or something like that. So Dot is not being very nice. Okay, I thought literally her toe had got her own sitcom. No, I don't think so. I think she was referring to some other actress, perhaps, that got a part in a sitcom.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy got her own primetime sitcom. And it really kills me because I'm so much more talented than she is. Thank you.
Well, guys, what do you think? What do you think of these Dot Poetry Corners? Which one was better of the two? Nathan, what do you think? I liked the Jack Be Nimble, or, you know, the burning the butt kind of thing. Uh-huh. It was just funnier. See a butt. See a butt. And Nathan, not Nathan. Yeah, do you want to see it again? No. I'll say it again. No. Jack Be Nimble. No. And Kelly, what about you?
I like the Jack Be Nimble one better too. The second one after it was over, I was like, what? That wasn't that funny.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you. I like the Little Miss Piggy one. Not Little Miss Piggy. Oh, what if it was Miss Piggy? That's what I was thinking. Did she get her own sitcom? Maybe it was. Was that Muppet Babies? Oh, wait, no, that was before this. Okay. But maybe, who knows? I mean, maybe Dot was going to be in Muppet Babies for some odd reason, and then Miss Piggy got the part. Little Miss Piggy. Little Miss Piggy. It would have been kind of weird for Dot to be playing Little Miss Piggy. It doesn't matter. She was upset. I'm sure she would have been great at it. Okay. Now we know the rest of the story. I'm Paul Harvey. Good day. Let's go ahead and get to our other filler, I should say. Yeah. Before we get to I was about to get some more cartoon. More gravy on our meat and potatoes. And that is the good idea, bad ideas.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea.
The first good idea was cleaning up litter. Bad idea was cleaning up kitty litter. Was this really a true good idea, bad idea? No, it's a good idea to take out both kitty litter and regular litter. Like, I think the problem is how Mr. Skullhead was cleaning up the kitty litter. Maybe don't take it out with your hands. But even like regular litter, you don't want to just be picking that up necessarily with just your hands. I mean, it can be... That one didn't quite work for me. Yeah, I'm like... Yeah, let's talk about the other good idea, bad idea. The first good idea was playing the accordion at a polka festival. And of course, the bad idea was playing the accordion anywhere else. And it shows him in a bus, and he gets attacked by all the passengers because he's playing the accordion in there. I like the accordion. I don't know. I like it in They Might Be Giants and Weird Al Yankovic. I'm a huge accordion fan. Those are the two I know. The two examples of when it's always okay to play accordion. In They Might Be Giants concerts, that accordion gets applause when they pull that accordion out. It's like a huge deal. So I don't know. Of those two, I think that the accordion one was probably a little bit better. Yeah, probably. Although the kitty litter one does lead right into kind of a Rita and Runt kind of I'm guessing true. But I agree. Accordion is funnier. Yeah, made more sense. But well, speaking of leading right into the Rita and Runt, let's lead right into that. How about that for a weird bad transition? Right into a lead into exactly. Let's go ahead and talk about Smitten with Kittens. And Smitten with Kittens was written by Deanna Oliver and directed by Alfred Gimeno and Dave Marshall. And Kelly, what can you tell us? What basically happens right here in Smitten with Kittens?
Smitten with Kittens is a Rita and Runt episode, and in the beginning, they're being fed by a little old lady at a restaurant, but then Runt starts playing tug of war with a tablecloth that's sort of hanging off the edge of a table, and they end up causing chaos and get kicked out of the restaurant. Then they stumble across these teeny little 3 kittens that are hungry, and Runt thinks they're puppies.
Yes.
And he doesn't understand how he could have not puppies. So he's so confused. And Rita's kind of having this internal struggle. Like, should she take care of them? She wants her independence. It's not like her biological clock is ticking or anything like that. And it's this really kind of existential crisis that I find a little heavy for a children's cartoon.
Yes.
But, she's basically trying to figure out if she wants kids or not, and take on this responsibility. And so she sings, and the little kitties sing, and at the end of the episode, they get the little lady to come back. And she takes the kittens, and now Rita's got her independence back, and Runt misses the puppies.
Yeah. Well, it was a nice episode of Rita and Runt.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Well, before we talk about what we think, the different parts we liked quite a bit, there was just a few quick cultural references in it. At one point, let's see, Rita asks Runt if he's ever heard of Cher.
Yeah.
Because of course he just eating the sausages.
Sharing.
He wasn't sharing. You ever heard of Cher?
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh yeah, she's the pretty lady with tattoos." And that kind of goes over most people's head today. They don't think, when I think of Cher, I don't think tattoos. But at the time, and the other quick cultural reference in this cartoon, they talk about, you're good mama, Rita. And he says that she's like Vicki Lawrence or Meredith Baxter. And Vicki Lawrence, that made me laugh because Vicki Lawrence played Mama in the Mama's Family, which was on the Carol Burnett show. And then later she had her own sitcom called Mama's Family. And Meredith Baxter played the mother in Family Ties. So, yeah, so there you go. Like, he's thinking of TV moms. And then it's topped off at the very end with Rita when she says to the kittens,
"Eat it or I'll drop your sweet little tushies in the pound."
Roseanne. Definitely a mom like Roseanne.
And Roseanne, who, of course, I believe at the time, went by Roseanne Barr, had her show Roseanne. And, Roseanne was not the typical sitcom mom. So would probably say something like, "I'm going to drop your tushies in the pound" to her children. And so that was cute. Well, Kelly, you mentioned some of the existential crisis that she was having in this one right here.
I'm nobody's mama, got no family. I'm a career cat, and my career is all about me. No one can tie me down, I'm going places. Straighten up, don't make those silly sad faces. It's rude. All right, I'll get food.
She was mentioning quite a few things. She was talking about her biological clock.
Yeah.
She was talking about being a career cat. What did you guys think about that song that she was singing?
I liked it. I thought it was hummable, I guess. I don't know. Just,
yeah.
It's not something you'd see in a Disney movie.
No, not at all.
Well, yeah, it's basically the opposite of what a Disney character would be.
Oh,
saying.
totally.
Like,
I did like the nice change in tone. I mean, it did have a heart to it. It's, and I just mentioned career cat and my biological clock, and it almost sounds like a dark kind of depressing song or something.
But she's like, she kind of wants to take care of but she also doesn't want,
she wants her independence.
Yeah.
I did like the change in tone though, when she looked and she saw through the window, the mom cat, she saw two different versions of being a mom, right? The mom has crazy kids and lazy husband and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the other version where it's the cat mom, and I think she has this kind of moment where she sings about her own mother and remembering her and stuff. So I thought that was cute. I thought that was nice.
I'd never tolerate that. On the other hand, oh my mama, I love you, mama. I will never leave you, mama. No, you got the wrong cat.
I just wish that the animation fit the quality of the singing.
Yeah.
I really just I think it takes away from Bernadette Peters' voice when you're paying attention to the character that's singing, and it's just distracting where you're like, oh, what? The model kind of changes form, or the lip sync is a little bit off, and it just kind of it's a shame. I think it's like, oh gosh, if only the animation was just slightly better on these. I would like it a little bit more. I will tell you one song I did not like, however, and that was the Milk Please Mama song.
Oh, come on.
Oh, gosh, that song, I swear, that song's been going over in my head all day. And it sounds like it's a total earworm of a song, and it gets in my head.
Milk, 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 please, mama, excuse our tune, but we're gonna faint if we don't get food. Milk, please, mama, mama, please.
It's like a jingle.
Yeah.
It made me thirsty, but that's about it. I don't know.
See, it didn't have that effect on me. I mostly forgot about it. But again, I was watching it on my lunch break, so I was like, I've got to eat, and then I got to go back to work. So I was like, my brain was shifting a lot of different directions, so I didn't remember the song.
Well, no, I'll just close out my thoughts. What do you guys think about that crazy lady?
Where'd my friends go? Oh, I get it. They don't know you. You don't know them. I'll take you to a mama cat downtown with oodles of milk. Ah, who am I kidding? It's me.
I thought she was interesting. Was she supposed to be like someone, like a character of someone?
I don't know who she's supposed to be, where she's like wearing a dress, like high top shoes, wearing a dress, and she's talking about reincarnated relatives. And
I guess it's supposed to be a Ruth Gordon tribute.
Oh,
I don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
But you should play a clip of it right here. No, didn't work.
Ruth Gordon was in the movie Harold and Maude. She was the old woman in Harold and Maude. She was in Rosemary's Baby and the wonderful movie Every Which Way But Loose.
Yeah.
So,
and Any Which Way You Can or something, right?
I don't know if she was in both, but she was definitely in Every Which Way But Loose. Yeah, she was a woman with a shotgun in that movie. I don't know. I'm just going over pictures, folks, on Google Images. So yeah, she was an actress. She was around for a long time. I don't know. I guess she kind of looks like her a little bit. Not really. I just thought
apparently it sounds a lot like her though.
Yeah.
Too,
okay. So there we go. It was a nice Rita and Runt cartoon, a very sentimental one. A little sad, you know.
Yeah.
But it ends, of course, with Runt going back to he's finally gone back to his "Where's the cat" joke.
Yep.
Which has not been around for a while.
For a while, yeah. It's...
Well, let's go ahead and move over to our next segment. And for that, we actually have a special guest.
Oh, boy.
And now, the Warner Brothers in a scene from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Translated for those viewers who, like Yakko, have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay, well, before we move on, we have a special guest joining us once again.
That's right.
Hi!
Hi, Nathan.
It's me!
No, that's not you. You can't do a woman's voice like that.
Get out of my way.
It's my wife. My wife.
Yeah, it's me, Jordan from Jordan Asks, What's News With You?
Yay.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, welcome back, Jordan. You just got back from a Shakespearean adventure, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I just ended it in January, so I've had a whole month off from all that Shakespeare stuff. I did Hamlet. I play Guildenstern, so we gender swapped it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic because, of course, we are seeing a selection right now in today's episode of Animaniacs with Shakespeare, and what do you know? It's with Hamlet. It's a scene from Hamlet. This couldn't be better.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Well, we have this scene right here with Horatio, and we have Horatio, Hamlet, and Hamlet's holding Yorick's head, right?
Correct, yeah. He seems to be holding like a whole like stuffed dummy, but essentially, yeah, it is supposed to be like Yorick's skull, as it's done in Hamlet by Shakespeare.
Yeah, Jordan, just so the listener doesn't know, that's actually not a stuffed dummy. Did you know that?
All right, okay. I'm a novice when it comes to Animaniacs.
It is. This is a character called Mr. Skullhead, and he is in many different segments called like Good Idea, Bad Idea, and he's actually goes all the way back to the early '90s with the show called Tiny Toon Adventures. Now, you're not that familiar with Animaniacs. Are you familiar at all with Tiny Toon Adventures at all?
That actually sounds familiar now. When you said,
Mr. Skullhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starting to have minor flashbacks.
Yes, minor flashbacks.
It's been a long time.
One of these days we're going to have to like sit Jordan down and like have her watch like a couple episodes and go, okay, now what do you think about this?
Show me your top 5 favorite ones and I'll watch
Well,
those.
we will definitely get to those. So we have the Mr. Skullhead, a.k.a. a stuffed dummy, being held by Yakko / Hamlet in this scene right here. What is in the actual play Hamlet, what the heck is going on in this scene?
Okay, so basically Hamlet's coming back from exile back to Elsinore, and he's going across the graveyard where there is a grave digger who is digging a new grave, and for which we will find out later to be Ophelia, one of Hamlet's love interests in the show. So in case you're not familiar. So anyway, so the gravedigger is taking out all these old skulls, old bones and whatnot, and Hamlet asks like, who's this skull right here? And apparently the gravedigger is very good at knowing skulls and says, that's Yorick, the king's jester. It's 23 years old. It's been in this graveyard. And that is what, starts this monologue with the skull. Alas, poor Yorick.
I wonder, did they just dump like some bodies like in certain just various holes when they weren't certain?
I would imagine yes. I would think in a graveyard you'd run out of space, or you'd start stacking bodies. I know that's actually not too it's not much of a novel idea these days. It's still being done.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, Yorick probably.
So you're digging a fresh grave and you're running into some old bones here and there.
So. Let's talk about the translation right here that Dot does. Is it a good translation? Is there anything that kind of stands out? I mean, obviously she jokes around a little bit, right?
Again, Dot proves to be very astute at Elizabethan language. I liked how, she does frame it in a way for both young people and older people to understand, and in a joking manner, because you can't take Shakespeare too literally all the time. So he was also quite comedic, so I think he wouldn't mind Dot's interpretation at all.
Yeah.
For instance, let's see. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest. So yeah, right off the bat, he's just saying like he was the king's jester. He was a man of the court, a royal jester. So let's see. Of most excellent fancy, he had a great imagination, and he hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And I think right after that, Dot says, like, he gave me piggyback rides. It's like, yeah, that's exactly, how else can you interpret that? And what a fun little way of putting it for kids of the 90s, because that's what we were all about. And now how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. And she says, I'm going to blow chunks.
Yes.
And yeah, my gorge is an archaic term for the throat. So yeah, it's like his throat is rising. Yeah, he's going to throw up. So
okay.
Yeah, not a bad interpretation, I must say. And then here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. And then I think Dot says something along the lines of, we used to kiss a lot.
Right.
Not. And I think that was just the animator's way of getting around a weird line like that for someone to be kissing someone else.
Yes.
And I think it was just like a playful, how kids kiss their, parents or whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't take too much to heart with that. The not joke didn't make much sense, but I get that she was just trying to moving on.
It sounded very like Wayne's World-ish to me.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I think it was topical for its time.
Yeah.
And then where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? And I believe Dot says, how come you're not funny now?
Yep.
So it was... I think, where are your jokes, where are your pranks and whatnot? So yeah, it's just saying
okay.
and it's amazing that he's talking directly to the skull as if it is alive.
Right.
I mean, he's really toying with it. And then he says, not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chapfallen. And she says something like, you don't have a jaw anymore, you're not laughing. And,
right.
Which is, true. It would have been a skull probably without a lower jaw. Probably would have, it's 23 years old, there's no way. It probably could have lasted that long. And it just looks cool that way with just the top teeth showing.
Yes.
And chapfallen, of course, meaning hanging, lower, as if you're exhausted. And now get you to my lady's chamber. Of course, right before this, we've seen Wakko pull, I believe, Cher out of the grave.
Right.
And she's gone off running.
Yes.
So in this case, I think they're trying to give you a better image of some lady. I took it to be Hamlet's mother, Gertrude.
Uh-huh.
But in this case, they're saying, get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. And basically, it's saying that, let her know that doesn't matter how much makeup she puts on, she's still going to end up looking like you. Croak and look like you, I think Dot says.
Yeah.
So, very accurate, actually.
Wow,
I mean,
cool.
even if they're referring to Cher in this case, and maybe because of Cher's, all of her plastic surgery, something like that. Maybe that's why they chose her to be the image for that.
They choose Cher a lot.
Do they really? Do they make fun of her?
There's caricatures of Cher and
dear.
references to Cher a lot in these
well, she was
cartoons.
huge,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I can see why they'd want to poke fun at her. And then, so they did a good job with that. And then, prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. And it's supposed to be a line to Horatio where he responds, but instead, what is it? Yakko? Wakko, he says, the next episode. So
yes.
In that case, that's not accurate. but overall, Dot does a really great job laying it out for anyone watching who doesn't understand Shakespeare very well.
Excellent. So I think the costumes and everything like that pretty much match up with the traditional.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say, though, that in Shakespeare's time, they were also doing period pieces. Mm-hmm. So they would also have costumes, togas if they were doing Julius Caesar. We always picture they're in tights and whatnot. They have high collars, those ruffled collars, but that wasn't always the case. I mean, just as, we do the 1940s and 1950s and we dress up, they were also doing that for their time period. They were trying to mimic another time for their histories.
Oh, cool.
And one thing I came across while studying this and researching it was that this was probably Yorick was probably modeled after an actual jester that was during the time of Queen Elizabeth, named Richard Tarleton. So, who's very famous, had spoken a lot of rhyme, did fencing, wrote his own plays, did his own poetry called doggerel, which is kind of irregular rhythm of poetry. So very interesting stuff there. I started diving deep into Richard Tarleton. Yeah, and so if you really want to know about a King's Jester, look up that one.
So now we know who Mr. Skullhead really is. Then
yes, maybe his real name is probably Richard Tarleton.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sure the animators probably thought about that.
Of course, totally.
Definitely.
Well, Jordan, thank you so much again for being our Shakespearean expert.
Oh, I love being here to verify whether Dot is right or not.
And we do have one more coming up, I believe, which is Macbeth, which will be our.
Ooh,
I think
exciting.
it's the third and final one will be coming up in a future episode.
The Scottish play. How exciting.
Yes,
Old
indeed.
Mackers.
Well, Jordan, before you go, let's give, again, you mentioned your podcast real quick. What's it called once again?
It is Jordan Asks WNWY, or What's News With You, and where I sit down with a different guest every 2 weeks and ask them the same question. What's news with you? The conversation can go anywhere and can be about anything. I promise.
Yes, it certainly does go everywhere and anywhere. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jordan, for coming on once again. And let's give her a hand, Nathan. Yay!
Clap, clap, clap.
Okay.
So supportive. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So I forgot to mention, Last Poor Skullhead, written by Shakespeare. So there we go.
Thank you.
We've got to get proper credit to the writing of this. Any thoughts on Last Poor Skullhead, guys, before we move on to our next segment?
I like that Wakko kept pulling out random things from the background, just like a rocket ship and, a giant squid.
Oh, yeah, that giant squid. I'm glad my wife wasn't looking at the screen at that point, because she has a horrible fear of giant squid.
And she wouldn't want to go to graveyards. So.
Yes, apparently. Kelly, what about you?
I really enjoyed it. As someone who majored in English, and I think I ended up reading Hamlet about 4 or 5 times, because that's the Shakespeare play every teacher wanted to teach. But I like it. It's a great play. But I could see that Dot's interpretation was really accurate, even though it was kind of funny, and the way she was describing stuff was a little silly at times. But it was actually pretty spot on, and so I got a kick out of it. And the fact that they used Mr. Skullhead as Yorick was very inspired.
Yes. And it was good animation, too.
Yeah.
Good animation.
It was nice having a second reference to Cher in this episode.
Exactly. Double your Cher references.
Ever heard of her?
Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next cartoon. Next cartoon is called White Gloves, and it was written by Nicholas Hollander, and it was directed by Rusty Mills. Nathan, what happens in White Gloves? Like white diamonds.
Yeah.
No, White Gloves.
So we open up on Wakko. He's playing the piano, and he's really good at it. Like, good job, Wakko. But then his gloves kind of bounce off, and they start playing the piano by themselves, and he's just digging it. And then the gloves fly away out the outside of the water tower, and that's how apparently he loses all of his gloves, I guess.
He loses more of them that way, at least.
Other than I don't know what other way he loses them. But anyways, usually I feel like that's how like a Disney cartoon would end at that point or something.
Yes.
But instead we see the gloves go on a whole bunch of antics of basically trying to get money and going dancing and going on trains and trying to get a job, and then getting arrested, and then they end up going back to the water tower at the very end, and everything's happy and good. So,
so yes, we got to see a glimpse into the life of gloves.
Yeah, it was interesting.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah, sure. Well, this whole gag of taking inanimate objects such as cartoon gloves. I've seen it happen in a few other cartoons.
Yeah.
I think it's happened a few times in Mickey Mouse cartoons, for example. Like, I want to say when Mickey was playing guitar in Hawaiian Holiday or something with Minnie Mouse doing kind of a Hawaii kind of dance that his gloves kind of, maybe I'm just imagining his fingers doing it, but I'm pretty sure they jumped off of his hands and danced around a little bit. And then there was the other Mickey cartoon. I think it was called Mickey Through the Looking Glass.
That's the one I think of when I...
Yeah, and like they didn't... And he... Like, they just dance together, right?
Yeah.
With cards and stuff like that.
It's a weird episode, but yeah, he has...
Yeah, so, we've seen this... I've seen this before in some classic stuff. It reminded me a lot of classic Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, Silly Symphony kind of stuff. But yeah, they're flying all around the place. They get famous for a while, and They get dirty and they get torn, and
Yeah, they get run over by a bulldozer, I guess.
they get arrested at one point.
Yeah, and torn, and they're kind of beaten up, but
Eventually, they somehow make it home.
yeah, they hear Wakko playing the piano, lonely and sad, and they get all excited and run back to him, and the music picks up again. It's a very musical episode, so it's nice.
That's very true. Well, Nathan, what did you think about this cartoon?
I enjoyed it. I'm ready for the next one with Wakko, where he gets to play the xylophone with his butt.
That got a laugh out of one of the students at my school today, because I was just showing this around lunchtime just to watch it again, and the kid was totally tuned out about what was going on, but they happened to walk in just for that line, and they went, with his butt.
Tomorrow I'll play the xylophone with my butt.
that got a laugh.
It's kind of funny.
Kelly, what about you?
I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I think because I'm a writer.
Uh-huh.
I love to quote Animaniacs. The episodes that are just not really, they don't have hardly any dialogue, and it's all about the visuals.
Uh-huh.
Which is weird because I like art and I like visual stuff,
Right.
but I really just prefer the episodes that are witty and with clever lines and snappy dialogue and stuff. And so I find that with these kinds of episodes, my attention just starts straying, and I just don't find it easy to focus on it.
Yeah, I had to watch it like a couple times to actually see everything that happens to it, because it's hard to keep my attention on it, but I enjoyed it still well enough.
I got a whole sense that there's this whole other society that we're not familiar with, that these gloves are jumping around, like there's police gloves and there's criminal gloves.
There's work gloves, of course.
Yes. And the burglar gloves apparently want to steal TV sets for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But this whole and they arrested the white. Yes, go ahead.
It's like the enchanted objects in the Beast's castle.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Except the TV wasn't alive. Maybe it was.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be the next cartoon with the TVs coming alive. Yeah, it was mildly successful, I think, in its performance, I guess you could say, for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was just it was.
Yeah, no, it's not memorable. I didn't. But
no, Wakko does have a funny line at the end, I suppose.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of the Freakazoid, like when he gets his sidekick, Mr. Hand, or what is his?
I think it was Mr. Hand. Yeah.
And then they get married, like his two hands get married.
Love that episode.
Yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that. Of just like seeing these long adventures, although the Freakazoid did it better. But,
much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like
Freakazoid's hands get married to one another, and then it just keeps going and just keeps going.
Yeah.
Another job well done, thanks to Handman.
My hero!
Darling!
I love you!
And I love you!
I love that one. Okay, well, anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We'll maybe talk about it someday, but whatever. Well, great. Well, before we get over to our water tower rating, let's talk about one last thing, which is the Wheel of Morality.
All right.
It's that time again.
To pretend to throw up?
To floss?
No, it's time to learn the day's lesson.
So today's moral was, Nathan?
Early to rise, early to bed. Makes a man healthy, but socially dead. So, stay up late, folks, if you want to have friends.
You got to have that social life.
Yeah.
I loved this quote. I thought, I would love to, make this as a quote that it's so popular to like go to Target or Kohl's and you get your little quote that you put over your bed that says, kiss me before going to bed, or,
I don't know what you're talking about, but
those
what
vinyl
kind of things do you have hanging over your bed, but
no, they have these like vinyl letterings of quotes and stuff like that that can go over your bed or whatever on your wall. And I just think this would be a wonderful quote right there. And so I'll have to make one. I think I'll make a vinyl one right there and put that over the bed. But a cute wheel of morality right there.
Yeah, just a nice little filler.
Yeah. They almost won a trip to Tahiti as well. Yeah. So they were one off. Well, let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating for this episode. So, what do you guys think? I'm going to go ahead and go first. I haven't gone in a while. Out of 5 water towers, I will give this one 2.5, I guess. But, not just. And whenever I give a 2.5, I feel like that's a 50%. It's a terrible.
It is a 50%. It is
terrible. And it's not necessarily, because I almost gave it a 3. I think it's a nice episode of the Animaniacs. It's not one I would necessarily revisit, but it has a lot of nice filler portions that are kind of classics of Animaniacs, I think. I just didn't really like the 2 main segments here, but the filler portions were the good part. It was kind of weird that the filler was the best part, and Smitten with Kittens and the glove adventure was only White Gloves was only so. So that was my thoughts. Kelly, what about you? How many water towers would you give this one?
I think I would go with 2.5 as well. I liked Smitten with Kittens, so, but I didn't find the filler stuff because I don't even remember watching Good Idea, Bad Idea. So it didn't particularly grab me. And then I thought, and the Dots Poetry Corner just wasn't that funny. I did like the Wheel of Morality. So all told, I'll go with 2.5.
All right, Nathan, what about you?
I'm gonna go with 3.
Oh, okay.
Just,
mix things up.
Yeah, because I want to agree with you guys. No, it was. No, I liked Wakko's thing well enough. His segment and all the fillers were good. So
it pushes it up to a 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I do like the Shakespeare culture of that. So
yes, you felt more cultured afterwards.
Exactly.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and head off to the island of some sort, Isla Nublar, to find out what our poll results were from last week.
Hello there, this is your announcer, speaking to you live from... I'd better get out of here. Here, Raptors. Here, let me give you a hand. Or at least a hand out. There. Well, before I also become finger food, let's get back to the studio with this week's poll. Yay!
That sounds interesting, what's going on with that announcer. Okay. I don't know really what more to say about that guy. But let's go ahead and get to our thoughts for this. What's the best Pinky in the Brain of those? What do you think, Nathan?
Okay. I almost said Opportunity Knocks, but of course I ended up voting for Bubba Bo Bob Brain.
Bubba Bo Bob Brain. And give me one reason why you like that the most.
Just the name. I'm just saying Bubba Bo Bob Brain. It's just too funny to not vote for it.
And Kelly, what about you?
I also chose Bubba Bo Bob Brain.
Yes. And I did too. Bubba Bo Bob Brain it's great.
And that's why it won.
Yeah. It's great stuff.
For me, it's the legs.
Yes.
Yeah, hitting the doors.
And when he says you all.
Yeah.
Because he just can't bring himself to say y'all.
Yes, that was such a good episode. In
then
general.
Of course meeting Dolly Parton. So it's lots of fun parts.
Yeah,
so funny.
And he came so close to ruling the world too in it. So
yeah.
And a lot of these, like, he doesn't even come close because it's like he's just trying to get money to get this other thing.
Yeah,
this one, like, he actually
did hypnotize apparently everybody in the world.
Yeah,
Because that was back in the broadcast days where you didn't have that many channels, and you could actually hypnotize a large amount of people.
That reminds me that we still haven't seen Big Ear's Noodle Noggin.
No, we haven't.
Nope.
That's one to look forward to. I almost forgot about that one. I get so excited about future episodes. It's ridiculous.
Well, before we move on to
future episodes,
we got to close out this episode. Nathan, what is the poll for this week?
All right. The question is, what are the Warners? Hey, you, listener, what are they? Okay. Are they dogs?
Uh-huh.
Are they cats?
Meow.
Are they infested with fleas?
Itchy.
Or are they just cute, I guess?
You can't say all of the above. You have to pick the thing that they are most.
I guess.
To you.
What they are most. And if you want to write in Time Lord, that's fine. But it's not on the poll, I guess. I know. I'll be writing that in.
You'll be writing those in.
But
I know. I always love polls when people, and then they just kind of write what their responses are instead of that. But yes, go ahead and make from those 4.
Yeah.
There's plenty other things that they could possibly
You can
be.
write in your answer, but just also vote on one of those 4, and then also write in what you want.
Sure, why not? Okay, well, go ahead and go over to twitter.com/Animaniacast, or simply search on Twitter for #Animaniacastpoll, and you can make your voice heard. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Kelly, where can people go online to get in contact with you?
They can find me, Kelly, Kelly, at BigShinyRobot.com or Yoda Princess at Twitter.
All right, and Nathan, how about you?
I'm also on Twitter at DjangoFT. That is me.
Well, you know what? We're on Twitter, too, as the Animaniacast.
What?
Yeah, you can go to twitter.com/Animaniacast. You can go to facebook.com/Animaniacast. Or you could write us an email, which is animaniacast@retrozap.com. And speaking of retrozap.com, you can head over there to see some fantastic articles and outstanding podcasts. There's stuff about Star Wars, there's stuff about Star Wars and Disney, and there's just miscellaneous nerdy stuff, and or we're kind of fit into the miscellaneous, if I
Miscellany.
say. Yes, we are definitely. Here's Miscellany right now. Come on in, miss.
Oh, hey, where is this?
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, there she goes. So head on over to retrozap.com and check out all that stuff. And we will be back next week with episode 40 of the Animaniacs, which I think, well, let's see, we're going to be on a game show next week. This should be fun. It's one of my favorite episodes right there, with going on a game show. Yes.
Oh, is it the Isaac Newton?
Yes, it is. So if you're so we're going to learn all about Isaac Newton next week. Maybe not really. Anyway.
Yay.
But until then, for the Animaniacast, this is Joey, and for Nathan and Kelly, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
I don't know about you, but I'm touched.
In the head.